Hey guys, my name is Sam, aka Just Casual. Welcome to another application review. I think the key points from this video that we're going to take away is actually how to make the resume process a lot easier and more focused. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a job posting on hitmarker.net. And from that specific post, we're going to figure out how to tailor your resume to that, or at least Drew's. Okay, so starting from the job posting, this is an associate partnership manager position with Beyond the Summit, full-time, entry level, and business development sales. So this intro paragraph, I don't want to read through every single bullet point here because it's going to make the video really long. But what I'm getting from this is the ideal candidate is someone that could really take a project head on and do it from beginning to end. They can do their own research. They don't have to ask questions every single minute because senior leadership sounds like they're going to be busy. They're going to give you a project, give you the information and guidance you need, but they don't want to hold your hand throughout the whole project, right? So that's what I'm thinking is like you need to present yourself as someone that's self-sufficient, a self-learner, and that's self-motivated, right? So then I also, when I look at these things, I'm kind of keeping a checklist, and I would put this in like Notepad or Post-it notes where I'm trying to figure out like what are the things that they're looking for, and then how am I going to match my experience to the things that they're looking for, right? So already this job posting is pretty organized. They're looking for sales and marketing, campaign and activation fulfillment, and relationship management. And how I would even summarize all these things, again, I don't want to, you can pause to look at the details of this. For sales and management, I would say they're looking for someone that's able to find new partners and sponsors and then ultimately make them happy. For campaign and activation fulfillment, you're going to be also figuring out like how are you going to take the requirements of the partnership or sponsorships and then execute them to fruition and making Beyond the Summit happy, making the partners happy, and then also like going above and beyond, like how to track that and then ultimately how to make sure that's profitable and to make like good decisions for future projects and future partnerships and activations. And then for the relationship management part, I would say this is like someone that's very sociable, that knows how to network, and then ultimately like build good, new, and long-lasting relationships. That's a quick summary of this job posting. So let's move on to Drew's application. If you want to support the channel, you can create an account at Hitmarker using my personalized link in the video description. Esports organizations and these companies, they post their jobs on Twitter, they post them on LinkedIn, they post them on Monster. But the thing is, Hitmarker does a really good job at finding all these jobs and putting them into one place. So if that interests you, click on the link, create an account, and I will be eternally grateful. Thanks. Back to the video. So first impressions here. This is a long application. The margins are small. There's a lot of information here. And that is a little discouraging when I have to go through 100 of these. So hopefully we can actually create more white space in here and really maybe figure out what information is needed and what information is not needed, because there's just like so much here. And when you have so many bullet points and so much information, it's going to be hard to make sure that the crucial information that you want to get across to be on the summit gets through. Second thing I noticed is it's actually formatted really well. It's really clean, even though it's a lot of information. And I can see like quickly, I can see dates. I can see like all your job experiences and they're bolded so they stand out. So I can clearly see like the sections of this. Here's experiences, education, skills and interest. Skills and interest one is very intimidating because it's just like chunk of text. Things don't quickly stand out to me that I want to see. Also, I don't see an executive summary. And I know, Drew, that you mentioned that you were told to remove it. If all this information is really, really important, you don't have space for an executive summary. I'm looking through this. I don't think every single one of these pieces of information is super important. And Drew, I'm really curious why you're told to remove it, because it's a really useful tool to get someone hooked into who you are and your resume and to quickly figure out like if you're a person they want to really give a thorough read of their resume for or not. And if it's not doing that, then of course it's not useful. So that means it's a bad executive summary, or it's not an executive summary that fits the job posting. So I would say you want to put it in there, but it can't be fluffy. It can't be like, I'm looking for a full-time job in esports, right? It needs to be really focused on something really useful. And I would do some Google searches, watch some YouTube videos on how to write a good executive summary. What should happen after reading your executive summary is I should be like, this person's really interesting. I think he's going to be a good fit. Let's like dig into more of the experience that he has. Okay, now let's go into a little more detail. And again, I don't want to read every single bullet point, but I want to give some summaries of what I thought from each section. So the key thing here is I think we need to tone down your relevant experiences. There's a lot of lot of repetition and similar things that you've done for multiple roles. And I think the big points that I want to fix here is that it takes a little more effort for me to connect the dots of what your experiences are exactly related to the job application. I would say that reading through this, I didn't know you might have a sales and marketing background. I don't see you've done stuff with partners and sponsors, and that is what I'm looking for if I'm with Beyond the Summit. So how are we going to connect those key points to your resume? I think a big thing is that you show in your experience that you know how to manage things from start to finish, and that you've taken on projects from start to finish, and that the projects just look a little different. They might not necessarily be sponsorship activations or partnership or campaign or social media campaigns, but they are projects. And for example, I've seen you've done stuff with rental spaces. You've implemented new scheduling processes. It looks like you might have ran an annual adult kickball league. You created an after school program. You ran tournaments, and you helped with another tournament here. So what I would say here is you want to show with those bullet points that you know how to execute a campaign. And I might even use similar wording to the job posting, right? To just really get that across. So if we go back to the job posting, so right, instead of maybe partners, you might be talking about customer needs. You need to tell me like you developed a solution for partner needs. Did any of your events require you to reach out and find new people, which would be relationship management? It would also be pursuing new sales leads. What about negotiation, right? All these bullet points have like a big story behind them, but I don't know those details behind them. Like this whole created the foundations of a low-cost citywide after-school program. What I probably want to see actually here is like, what are the things that you learned, or what are the experiences you've taken from that? Did that require talks with City Hall? Did that require multiple meetings that you had to organize? Did that require budgeting conversations and figuring out how to reallocate budget, or doing pitch decks for the Parks and Recs board or the city, or those kind of things? I think those are the bullet points that you want to put in here, right? Because what you're putting in here are just big, like these are the responsibilities that I had. And instead, I want to see like what you accomplished and how that gives me confidence that you're able to accomplish that in this role as associate partnership manager. So yeah, I don't actually see any sales and marketing in this, like on the surface level. I can maybe think that you might have that sales and marketing stuff in some of these bullet points, but that's not really, really obvious. And I don't see any sales or marketing. I don't see anything said there. I don't see social media. I don't see partnerships. I don't see clients. Those are the things that I'm missing from this, right? Even though you might actually have that experience, I just don't see it on the surface level. You got to remember, people are skimming your resume, so you need to get those points across really, really quickly and clearly. Yeah. So then I would say the other thing is relationship management that was in the job posting. I see that you've supervised employees, and you've probably worked externally with people. So I want to hear more about that. I want to hear about your customer service. I want to hear how you've, let's see, just flipping back to the job posting. What did they say under relationship management? Build, maintain, and grow personal relationships with partners and staff, right? Learn how to talk about BTS so that clients get excited. And traveling and networking and going to conferences and events. And basically, you're going to be the representation, the face, and the voice of BTS towards clients towards clients. So how are you going to get that across here? Right here, media liaison. That's probably something you could like really, really touch on and talk about that. Manage day-to-day operations for 3 facilities and over 30 staff. So how you talk to those people. Handle customer complaints and public relationship issues. relations issues. That could be something there. And I feel like this tournament sign up, I'm hoping it'd be really cool if there's something in there that works with partners and sponsors, right? So I feel like, again, the general feel I have from this resume is like I don't see the things that BTS is asking for in this resume. However, I feel like you could have those skills and experiences. It's just not really it's not on the surface. I have to dig deep for that, and hiring managers aren't going to dig deep for that, especially if they have other good applicants, right? Okay, so let's move into education. And this is where I want to say, like, this is where I actually started digging deeper into your stuff, looking at your education. And maybe I don't understand sports management well enough and I don't know what the curriculum is. But again, the resume doesn't scream marketing and sales to me. But what I saw here is under relevant courses, I saw sports finance and economics, sports marketing, sports programming, sport administration. So suddenly I'm like, wait, this guy probably does have knowledge and understanding of like marketing stuff. But it took me to get to the bottom of the page to realize that, oh, you actually might have that experience, because I didn't see it on the top half. I saw it all the way in the bottom under a long list of things that I'm probably not going to read, and it's like right here. So this could be a very general resume, but if you're going to apply to jobs and you're serious about that job and you really want to get that specific job, you need to tailor your resume to be that. Like, you could do the shotgun approach where you're trying to apply for 100 jobs, so you're sending 100 general resumes, or you can focus on 5 and make sure like those 5 represent you and how you can apply to that job, how you can fit that job like really well. And I think that's more effective than just doing a shotgun approach. So like analysis and evaluation of parks and recreation, is that actually a relevant course to the job you're applying for? I don't think so. Sports finance and economics, yes. Sports marketing, yes. Sports programming, yes. Writing and speaking in sport, it could be because of you need to be a good communicator, right? And then sports administration, I should say yes. So I would even maybe put this at the end, because I think the other stuff, sports administration, might be more important. That again, like that might be my lack of understanding on sports management, but you can make that decision. I would also say that with this education, organizing in a way to quickly skim through it rather than a paragraph with lots of words and lines and characters. If you could put this in multiple columns and bullet points, that might be nice. So here's another bullet point that needs to earn its place on this resume, because to me this is fluff. I don't know what it means. That to me this doesn't tell me anything, because I don't know what a student ambassador does. I don't know what a club tennis player means. Does that mean just you have extra hobbies outside of just school? That could be important, but is this more important than making this more legible or a bullet point up here? It has to earn its place, and it's competing with all these other experiences you have. Okay, so I want to talk about the skills and interests part, because I think these can get really fluffy, and things like attention to detail, teamwork, hospitality, organization, like anyone can say that and put that in their skills. And people do. I think people are like, spamming keywords and buzzwords in there to convince someone that you have those, but it's not proven. So I hate skills sections unless they're really like hard skills. Adobe Photoshop and Premiere, even though they might not be directly relevant to the job, it actually helps if you're working with editors and graphic designers, because then you kind of understand the program already. So that helps with communication. And those are technical skills. Those are things that you can really like prove and can show for and even like test for. So I like those kind of skills. But I really don't like the fluffy stuff in there. So when it comes to like, hey, this takes up 3 lines, is this really important than keeping a few more bullet points in your relevant experience tab? I would say experience is more important than these skills. Then interests, again, same reason. I feel like interests are like when you go to a career fair and you throw, and the person's like really bored because he looked at 200 resumes and suddenly he's like, oh, you're into basketball. Let's talk about basketball. I've heard that worked, but I'm not a big fan of that, because especially because you have other things that can really prove your worth and your interest through your experiences and the conversations, through your experiences, especially on an online application. These interests are like, unless they're really relevant, again, is this line more important than other lines in here? Okay, so again, just to kind of go over things, I think it's really, really important to make sure every little bit of your resume earns its way on there. And what I would say is that right now, this resume is packed, and I want to have more breathing room and white space on this. Therefore, that means you have to cut down, even if you cut out your education and skills, that's still a lot of text. You really need to pick like, what are the 3 bullet points? What are the 2 bullet points? What is the 1 bullet point you want from each of these things? And make sure it means something to the hiring manager for BTS. If it doesn't, cut it out. If, for example, led swimming lessons and in-service lifeguard trainings, if that bullet point doesn't mean anything to the job posting, get rid of it. I understand that these could be like the 5 things that you did as an aquatic manager, but instead, if you just showed the 2 things that really, really mattered about your aquatic manager position, that is really relatable to be on the summit, that is going to stick more than having to read 5 bullet points where you have to only 2 of them are really important and 3 of them aren't. To them. Think about who your audience is. Okay, in summary, I think the key points that need to be taken away from this resume for not just Drew, but for everyone, is when you have something that's so compact, you really need to let the information breathe. And therefore, you need to make sure that every single thing on there deserves to be on that resume. Every single one of these bullet points need to relate to the job posting, right? If you have something like this one, led swimming lessons and in-service lifeguard trainings, how important is that for the hiring manager to know? And if it's not, cut it. Because again, you already have a lot of stuff on here and it's really hard to skim. So therefore, the important information is not going to come across because it's going to be surrounded by a lot of extraneous information. So use that job posting to really guide like what deserves to be on your resume. Thank you, Drew, for that resume. Hopefully it's helpful to everyone else as well. And if you guys want to see another one of these, click on the videos below or to the side. Thanks.